Well, we're back, and it's the Hamptons International Film Festival, the 25th year.
Yes, it is.
The silver anniversary, and here with filmmaker Jeff Sharpe, and the film is called Yellow Birds.
Yep.
I love yellow birds.
Good to be here. Thank you.
The yellow bird of paradise, I used to say.
That's right. That's right.
This movie, East Coast premiere, narrative, and it's 94 minutes in English, my favorite language.
Yes, perfect.
And if, not to give the whole plot away, but just a little thumbnail sketch for the...
The Yellow Birds is based on the best-selling, critically acclaimed novel by Kevin Powers, which was largely inspired by his own experience in Iraq as an Army soldier. It's a story about a young man who goes off to Iraq in 2004, meets a guy who's also from Virginia in boot camp. The two of them go off, best buddies, and one of them disappears, this young man, Murph. And his mother, Maureen, played by Jennifer Aniston, goes on a journey for answers into her son's disappearance. And so that's really the basis of the films.
So it's a heart-wrenching, you know, looking for your child, mother's love, through all thick and thin stuff.
It is.
And what brought you to the project? I mean, it's something that, you know, is a heavy thing to put together.
Reading the book is really what inspired me. A lot of my films are based on books, and this is one of the most beautiful stories I've read in years. And it also offered an opportunity to tell a story about the war in a uniquely apolitical way. You know, I feel there have been some great films that have been told about, from an American's perspective, about war, whether it's Vietnam or Iraq, or and I didn't feel the need to make that story. But this one really captured my imagination because it was about the horrors of war, but without it being, you know, a story about
war and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it strikes a chord, and the buzz among the community here is that it's really something that you know, has contention for like award-winning stuff, because it's done with such sensitivity. And when you're dealing with something of that subject, and you're right, it's been, you know, it's cut up a lot of different ways, from Platoon to all these, you know...
American Sniper more recently.
Right, and it runs the gamut. But this thing is has a sensitive, unique take, which is refreshing, and gets the message out very strongly. And basically, in putting it together, I'm wondering about the talent. How did you select the actors and the screenwriters and the directors and all that other stuff? How did you put it all together?
I'll go back to the book again, because it really helps when you have a beautiful book to share with writers, directors, actors. It gives a sense of focus and a sense of urgency to telling the story. And David Lowery, a beautiful screenwriter who wrote and directed Ain't Them Bodies Saints, Pete's Dragon for Disney, adapted the story, very quiet, lyrical adaptation. And then Alexander Morris, who's a French-American director, had that quality of an international director who's looking at this from a slightly different viewpoint than perhaps an American director. Yeah, quite neutral. So that was the creative team. And then in casting, we looked for two young men who would play the part within the right age range. So, you know, oftentimes when you're casting young men, you cast older actors because they're more famous and it adds more value. So you're always playing a little bit of that.
You just described Rob Lowe's whole career.
Yeah, well...
he's available, you know.
Yeah, love Rob Lowe. But Alden Ehrenreich and Ty Sheridan are these magnificent young actors who play the roles of Murph and Bartle. And at the time, Ty Sheridan was 18 when we cast him.
Wow.
And Alden in his early 20s, just about ready to go off and play Han Solo in Star Wars. And so, you know, really young men at the very beginning of their career. And then balancing that with these two mothers, Toni Collette, who I'd made 3 movies with at that point. Brilliant. One of the great actors of our generation. And then Jennifer Aniston, who had just distinguished herself with a film called Cake. Really stretching, you know, new dramatic territory for herself as an actor. And yet this character, this mother, Maureen, is also someone we all have to relate to. So Jennifer Aniston is someone we've known. You know,
right, but to approach this role with such depth is amazing. It's terrific. But we're very proud of you being here, and we really appreciate you spending the time with us. Again, it's the East Coast premiere, narrative, 94 minutes, The Yellowbirds, and it's well worth a look.
Southampton on Sunday.
You know, being one of the film commissioners, it begs the question, Jeff, and I know you're a local guy. In making films, especially here on the eastern end of Long Island, we always try to encourage filmmakers of the caliber that you are to kind of bring the industry here. What do you think about that? What do you think about making it right in your own hometown, more or less?
Yeah, well, you know, I've spent my summers in East Hampton my entire life, and I was part of the crew that launched this film festival in 1993 when I was in film school. And I'm chair of the advisory board here at the Hamptons as well. So I've had a long-standing connection to this place, this community. And as a filmmaker, you know, I've taught at the middle school and the filmmaking workshops and the screenwriters workshop. So I have a real commitment to this community and to giving back much of what I've gained in my career and bringing it back home and sharing it here. As a filmmaker, you know, sharing my work here and screening it for this audience is really special. It means I get to have my family and my friends here, which is, you know, after being away in Morocco for 4 months, you know, it was pretty nice. My son, who's 7, is like, "Where were you? What were you doing?" So,
what did you bring?
So, yeah, exactly. So he'll be here. So it's really nice to share that with friends and family and neighbors and folks out here. But also, to your point, you know, I'd love to actually shoot out here, and that's been a lifelong dream, and I hope to do that at some point.
Well, the Film Commission hopes to streamline the permit process and all and to encourage that, because it's an industry that, quite frankly, helps with the economic development of, you know, the restaurants, the dry cleaners, the lumber yards, everything, the housing.
That's right.
And it's something that doesn't pollute. And it's a lot of fun, and it's an artist community of electronic, or, you know, the film sense, and we want to encourage that. So if we can help you out, you know, just contact the Film Commission. We kind of can stream things out for you.
Well,
but we're very proud of you, and being a local product of this town, it's really amazing. We're very proud of you, doubly, triply proud of you. So thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Thank you.
Of more than 90 countries is pursuing the networks of terror with every tool of law enforcement and with military power. We have arrested or otherwise dealt with many key commanders of Al-Qaeda. We meet here during a crucial period in the history of our nation and of the civilized world. Part of that history was written by others. The rest will be written by us. Across the world, we're hunting down the killers one by one. We are winning. We must look at security in a new way, because our country is a battlefield in the first war of the 21st century. The greatest danger in the war on terror: outlaw regimes arming with weapons of mass destruction. And other regimes will be given a clear warning that support for terror will not be tolerated and intimidate the civilized world, and we will not allow it.
What people join the Marine Corps to do. You might be in the Marine Corps for 20 years and never get this chance again to take down a full-fledged city full of insurgents.
Pretty much we said, hey, we're going to be here at this time, you know, if you want something, get some.
It's like trying to light a wet log. It doesn't want to catch on fire, but when it does, it'll smoke beyond your control.